everyone, and welcome to my June book haul. So as always, there is a lot of books that I have to share with you guys. There's a lot of books I bought, and of course there are a lot of books that were sent to me either via publishers or book boxes, which I am always extremely grateful for. So I try not to do a long intro for these because there's a lot of books, and let's just dive right on in. Literally. So the first stack I'm going to share with you today are the books that I bought. I bought 4 or 5 of them. So I know that's not a lot. For me, that is a lot because I try not to buy a ton of books because money. But the books I bought this month, the first one is Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. I've already read and reviewed this, so I'll leave it right here. This is a YA contemporary book. Casey West is known for like sugary, fluffy books, and I really enjoyed this one. I think it's one of my favorites by her. It's about this girl that lives kind of on a lake and she loves going out on her wave runner, and she gets involved in this podcasting class at her school, and basically she ends up being one of the hosts, and it's all about advice and things like that, and a guy calls in for love advice, and you can guess what happens from there. I thought it was adorable. I mean, there's not much depth to it, but it's a perfect summer read in my opinion, and I enjoyed it a ton, so I would recommend it, and the cover alone. So summery, so adorable. Then we have one I've had my eye on for a while and I finally bought it, and that is The Bone Witch by Rin Chapico. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but either way, the cover alone is beautiful. This is a YA fantasy series. It's the first book in the series. I think it's a trilogy. I want to say the last one, The Heart Forger, just came out this year. I'm not sure on it. I mean, look at the cover. It's just stunning. And T is a witch, and she's different from other witches because her gift is necromancy, which is, and that's not normal in the witch community where she lives. So basically, because she is a necromancer, she is an outcast in the, like, human world and as well as the witch world. And basically, I think she gets exiled in this first book, and it's about her telling her story of how she got exiled. And she has the power to keep these beasts at bay with her necromancy abilities, but no one believes her or something like that. I don't know much about it. I don't want to know much about it. A lot of people say this is a very slow burning and a slow paced fantasy book, but it's amazing. So I'm thinking about saving this one for October because, I mean, goodness gracious, this is a fall read for sure. And I don't know if you've heard a lot about this or have read it, let me know because I just keep hearing more and more amazing things. I mean, even on the front it says, "Let me be clear, I never intended to raise my brother from his grave." I mean, how interesting does that sound? And the other 2 books I bought were mystery thriller books. The first one is one I wasn't planning to buy, and then I just bought it anyway, and that is The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. If you know, Ruth Ware is an adult thriller novel, and I have read all of her books, and I have not loved one of her books. I wasn't a big fan of In a Dark, Dark Wood. I somewhat liked Woman at Cabin 10, and I wasn't a huge fan of The Lion Game. And so I wasn't planning to buy this one, and then of course she just reels me in. The thing about her books is they are enjoyable. Like, they're fast reads for me. I'm interested, but when the mystery comes to be revealed at the end, I'm just usually let down. So, I don't know, but I have heard really good things about this one though, I will say. This is all about, I don't know much about it because with thrillers I really try not to know a lot about it, but all I know, it's about a girl named Harriet Westaway who receives a mysterious letter bequeathing her of an inheritance from her grandmother. She knows it's a mistake because her grandparents have been dead for 20 years and she has like no living family members, but she is not having a lot of money, not a lot of options. She says, let me just see how this is gonna play out. So she goes to this estate, she meets these people, and of course, you know, she's trying to pretend she's someone that she's not. So I'm very interested in that, and if you could tell by the cover, it's very, very atmospheric. It's kind of like a gothic type of setting, which I'm very, very intrigued by. I want to read it next month, even though it's probably best to read this in October, but I just can't wait. And I'm hoping to really enjoy this. I've heard good things about it, so maybe this will be the one Ruth Ware novel I really, really enjoy. Fingers crossed, because it's been a bumpy road with me and her books. And the last book I bought is yet again another mystery thriller, and that is Something in the Water by Katherine Stedman. I bought this partly because of the cover. The cover is like an ocean wave crashing. I love the beach, I love summer, and because of this thing right here. This is a part of Reese's book club. Reese Witherspoon has a book club. I saw this at Target and I thought, why not? And I'm really trying to find a good mystery thriller this year, somehow. But this is all about this couple that goes on their honeymoon and basically they find something in the water. You don't know what it is, and that's all you need to know about this book. I haven't read it yet, but I just keep hearing, like, just don't go into this not knowing much. And I've heard a lot of people really like the mystery at the end, but they get very mad at the characters because they wanted to shake them for all the mistakes they're making. So I'll probably feel that way too. But yeah, I'm interested in reading this, hoping to like it. I've said time and time again this year that I have had not a good year for me with mystery thrillers. I haven't found a lot that I've enjoyed. I've read a lot of ones I haven't liked. So I'm hoping one of these two I bought will break the mold. Hopefully. The next stack of books were all sent to me by publishers who I am so grateful for. I do not deserve being sent all these books by any stretch of the imagination, just so you're aware of that. But I am super grateful and very honored. The publishers want to send me their books, so just every day, every time I get a book, I'm like, wow, somebody wants to send me a book? Like, yeah. Anyway, the first one, the most exciting in my opinion, is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabatier. This is the third book in the Ember and the Ashes series, and when I got it, I was like, oh my gosh, Penguin sent this to me because I was gonna buy it that day. I opened it up to look at it, and it's signed to Heather from Sabatier. What? Was not expecting that. I'm filming this right now. I am filming this a few days before June officially ends, and I'm just starting this book, and I'm excited to see where the series is going to go. If you don't know about Ember and the Ashes series, it's basically a very brutal kind of Roman fantasy series where you have these people that are evil, and you have like a rebellion kind of going up against this evil people, and it's very interesting, very dynamic, a lot of magic. I really enjoy it. It's definitely one of my favorite fantasy series by far. This one is huge. It's 500 pages. It's going to take me a while to read, but I can't wait to read it. So thank you so much to Penguin Teen. Like, that's so beautiful. Next book that was sent to me is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is the new paperback edition that Tor so kindly sent to me. I had actually purchased the original cover years ago, and it's one of my favorite books, and I've since given away my old copy of it because I really love this new copy. I think it's beautiful. I love how red it is, how we have all these bones and skulls and parts of bodies down here. This book is one of my favorite books of all time. I know this one gets a lot of hype, but I really feel it deserves it because I am a big fan of Victoria Schwab, V.E. Schwab's writing. There has not been a book yet that I've read by her that I wasn't in love with the writing, at least. This is her, well, it was a standalone, but the sequel is coming out this September. These two college guys, and they're decided to do this project of like if they can revive themselves after death, and basically are like learning the fact of like people that get superpowers after they die. Like they come back after a few minutes of dying and they have superpowers, and they decide, you know, let's experiment on that, and they do, and both of them end up with superpowers. And basically this book is all about one character getting out of jail and going for the other character, and it's really like an enemy, like good versus evil, but really is it, or is it evil versus evil, or good versus good? It's such an amazing book. The writing's amazing. I am so excited for Vengeful, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I love this new edition. It's gonna go right up here as soon as I'm done this video because, oh, love it. Then I have a couple of chick lit books that I'm very excited for. The first one is The Proposal by Jasmine Guarini. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This got sent to me by Berkeley. She wrote The Wedding Date, which I read a few months ago and enjoyed. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. This is her newest novel coming out in September, and basically this is about this couple, and we have a freelance writer, Nicole, who attends a Dodgers game with her actor boyfriend, and the last thing she expects is for him to propose, and he does. They've only been dating 5 months. She doesn't even know, he doesn't even know how to spell her name correctly. She doesn't know, like, she doesn't know why he's asking her to marry him. So basically, the proposal does not happen, I don't think. And it gets viral, and of course she gets a lot of hate from it because she turned out an actor, and then she meets a doctor, and you know, it's just gonna be a cute chick lit from there. I love those books. They're just like cotton candy to me, so definitely can't wait to check this one out. I have one that got sent to me from William & Morrow called My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan, which I just read this month and enjoyed. It's about this girl, Ella, who is from Ohio, and she gets a Rhodes Scholarship, so she gets to spend a year in Oxford studying. So she goes to Oxford, and then she meets a guy. The guy is hiding a big secret from her. A lot of people have compared this to Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I can vaguely see how they're similar, but I'd say the plots are really different in my opinion. Like with one, you really know what's going to happen from the get-go. With this one, it's kind of in the back, and it's totally different in my opinion. I enjoyed this book. I thought it was cute. It's definitely heartbreaking at times. It's not like gonna make you like sob completely, at least my opinion, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was beautiful scenery in Oxford and going to visit pubs and learning about, you know, Tennyson and a whole bunch of really amazing poets, but I enjoyed it, so I would recommend it. I thought it was a great summer read in my opinion. I have from Simon & Schuster, The Summer of Broken Things by Margaret Peterson Haddix. Look at this cover. It's stunning. I love it. This is a YA contemporary novel, which I don't know much about. I think it's about two girls that used to be friends, and now they are not as teenagers. Like, they just really can't stand each other, but they have learned that their parents have paired them together to go on this vacation to Spain, and so they're going to Spain, and I'm guessing it's about them rekindling their friendship and, you know, maybe apologizing to each other and things like that. It sounds like a great summer read. I keep saying that, but it's summer and I just want to read all of the YA contemporaries and adult chick lits and all of those many things, but I haven't heard anybody talk about this book, so if you've read it, let me know your opinions, because as always, I love a good YA contemporary. I have Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. Naomi Novik also wrote Uprooted. So when I got this in the mail, I was very excited, but I was like, oh crap, I haven't read Uprooted yet, because I was for sure this was the sequel, because it looks very, very much like Uprooted, the cover at least. And this is kind of like a spin-off of Uprooted, so you don't have to read Uprooted to read this book, which is good because I don't own Uprooted, but I probably should. But that's good because I'm really interested in it. So if I'm not mistaken, this is kind of a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. I haven't heard a book that has been kind of a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, so very, very excited for it. I've heard amazing things about Uprooted, as I keep saying, but I couldn't for the life of me tell you what that was about. But the cover, again, amazing. I love everything about the cover, and I definitely want to read this soon. Like, I'm thinking maybe this will be a great fall read. Let me know. I mean, do I have to read Uprooted before I read this? Am I okay to read this? And then if I decide to read Uprooted, am I okay? I would love your thoughts and opinions. HMH Teen, I got Grimm Lovelies by Megan Shepard. This book comes out in October, I believe. Okay, a Nook has never stepped beyond the threshold of a Parisian townhouse. Enchanted from animal to human, she remembers nothing from her life before and envies the human world that she watches from the window. So then, I guess the person that's house that she's living in is murdered, and Nook and her fellow beasties, changelings, only have 3 days before their spell fades and they turn back into animals forever. So I'm guessing it's a race against the clock in this book to try to figure out the spell for them to not be like animals forever. So very interesting. Again, amazing fall reads. This book haul is just a lot of good summer and fall reads. So it's going to be so interesting for my TBR this year. So interesting. Speaking of great fall reads, it's The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Chicolte. This is a gender-flipped retelling of Beowulf, and I'm so excited about that. I read Beowulf in high school, and I was like, okay, high school was horrible for me. Let me just preface that. I enjoyed English class. I enjoyed reading, you know, different things. I loved reading 1984 in English class. I loved reading the Canterbury Tales, and I loved reading Beowulf, and I was the only like one that enjoyed that, so I was always like, let me just shut up and not tell people. But either way, I'm very excited to read another kind of rendition of Beowulf, and a gender-flipped one at that. Even though I enjoyed Beowulf so much, I could not for the life of me remember like what it was about at all. I think it's basically about you hunt the wolf, Beowulf, and is it? I really should probably reread the classic before I dive into this one. This one comes out in October, so perfect time for that to come out, but I mean, tell me I'm not the only one. Did you have to read Beowulf in high school? And if so, did you enjoy it or did you hate it? Or am I really the only one who enjoyed reading it? I probably am. From Fierce Reads, they sent me Dear Heartbreak, YA authors and teens on the dark side of love. So this is a YA anthology talking all about the dark side of love. You have different letters from teens. You have authors sharing their personal story of their heartbreak, of, you know, maybe abusive relationships, you know, things like that. So I always love a good YA anthology. This one's definitely going to be a very gripping and hard-hitting one at that, so definitely excited to check this one out. This is edited by Heather Demetrioushis. We have Becky Albertalli, Libba Bray, S. King, E.B. Azoya, a whole cascade of amazing authors sharing their thoughts and opinions on the dark side of love. Disney books, I got sent Willow of the Wood. Willa. I keep want to say Willow for some reason. Willa of the Wood by Robert Beattie. This is a middle grade book. Cover, again, is amazing, and the hardback, look at that. It's stunning. So this is kind of like Robert Beattie's, I think he wrote the Serafina trilogy, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a spin-off of the Serafina trilogy. So it's about a girl named Willa, who is a young spirit of the night in Great Smoky Mountains, and she creeps into the homes of day folk under the cover of darkness and takes what they won't miss. Either way, it sounds amazing. I'm putting it in my middle grade shelf, which is ever growing. I keep saying, I'm gonna read more middle grade. I'm gonna read more middle grade. Haven't yet. I am a horrible person. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know if I'll have time this year to dedicate a whole month to middle grade, but I know next year for sure there is middle grade March, I believe, and I think I'm for sure gonna be participating in that, and this will definitely be on that list because I've been meaning to read a Robert Beattie book for so long, and this one sounds a lot more intriguing to me than I think the Serafina trilogy. I don't know. And the author actually sent me this book, and I'm so excited because I've been eyeing it for quite some time, and that is My So-Called Bollywood Life by Nisha Sharma. Isn't this cover like freaking adorable? I believe she signed it as well. This is about a girl named Winnie, and Winnie was never convinced that Raj was her soulmate, but their love was written in the stars. Literally, a patent predicted Winnie would find the love of her life before her 18th birthday, and Raj meets all the qualifications, which is why Winnie is shocked when she returns from her summer at film camp to find her boyfriend of 3 years hooking up with another girl. That's nice and awkward. Worse, Raj is named the chair of the Student Film Festival, what Winnie was counting on for her film school applications. As a self-proclaimed Bollywood expert, Winnie knows that this is not how her perfect ended is scripted. Then there's Dev, a fellow film geek, and one of the few people Winnie can trust to help her reclaim control of her story. So basically I'm thinking she's gonna fall in love with Dev, and yeah. I came with the whole list from Nisha of Bollywood movie recommendations, which I'm definitely going to do. So I'm gonna read this book and watch a slew of Bollywood films because I've always been very, very interested in Bollywood films. So if you have watched a lot of them, let me know your recommendations for your favorite, because I just would love to have a whole day where I just read this book and then watch Bollywood films. So that's awesome. I'm super excited to read this one. So from Disney Books, I got something very, very shocking in the mail, and that is a freaking, what is this? The Darkest Legacy by Alexander Bracken, a spin-off of the Darkest Minds trilogy, which I still haven't finished yet. I'm bad. But I mean, I've never gotten an arc like this before where it's like bind it up and I feel like I'm really important, like some Hollywood executive, like, let me read the script to see if it approves. Who am Either way, super excited to check this one out. I'm definitely getting more excited about The Darkest Minds because the movie's coming out. There's so many booked movies this year. It's amazing. So from Simon, I got sent two kind of chick-litty books. The first one is Marriage Vacation by Pauline Turner Brooks from the TV show Younger, which is on TV Land. Characters in the show work for a publishing agency, and I think this is the book they published that one year that the show, like, I guess the season, I don't know. Either way, super excited to check it out. I don't know much about it. Other one is Sex in the City and Us, How 4 Single Women Changed the Way We Think, We Live, and Love. And this is basically about how Sex in the City, the show, came to be. So I'm sure you're aware of Sex in the City was a book by Candice Bushnell, then it became an HBO series. And I remember watching Sex in the City a lot when I was younger, like probably when I shouldn't have. I haven't watched it in the past years for some reason because, I don't know, it's harder to find. But I really love Sex in the City. If you're wondering, I would say I'm a mixture between Carrie, I'm a little bit of Carrie, and I'm a lot of Charlotte. Those are the two characters I really resonate the most with. Which Sex in the City lady are you? I know everyone's got like their pick. I would love to hear, even if you have combinations like myself, but I definitely want to check this one out because I really enjoyed Sex in the City. It was a great show. I have Mirage by, I would love to pronounce this author's name, but I know I'm gonna mess it up, so I will just leave it here for you at that. This is a new YA fantasy series, and it's basically, I don't know much about it. It's about a 16-year-old named Amani, and she's a dreamer, and she dreams of writing poetry like the old world poem she adores. It sure comes for Amani, and it's not what she expects. She's kidnapped and taken to the royal palace where she discovers that she looks nearly identical to the cruel half-princess Maram, and I think she has to like be a body double basically in this book. I've been hearing a ton of amazing things about this book, so I can't wait to check it out. Simon sent me a whole stack of Deb Coletti books in honor of her newest one coming out. Oh, this is a tricky title. A Heart in the Body in the World by Deb Coletti. This is about a girl, I think, that something happens in her life and she runs. Like, she decides to train to run a lot, which sounds amazing. I definitely want to check it out. This one comes out in September, and they sent me a lot of her other like favorite books because I know who Deb Coletti is. Haven't read one of her books. Don't know what's wrong with me. But they sent me Honey Baby Sweetheart. They sent me The Nature of Jade, and they sent me The Queen of Everything. So my plan is to for sure to read her newest one coming out in September, but I also want to read one of these. So which one would you recommend? I mean, I will say Honey Baby Sweetheart has a National Book Award finalist, so if that's the best one you think, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions, because Deb Coletti is a well-known YA author. I think she's like one of the OGs, so I would love to hear like which one you would recommend me to read. I want to read 2 of her books so I get a good perspective of her writing and things like that. Last stack of books I have are books I get sent by book boxes. The one that came in my Outgrade this month is From Twinkle with Love by Sidon Menon, and I have already read this and reviewed it, as well as with the Casey West book, so again, I'll leave it right up here. This is the Outgrade edition, so it's very, very different from the original one. We have blue instead of pink. Her shirt is yellow instead of blue. Even the back is different. The hardcover is a different color. There's a lot of different things about it. I actually just did a giveaway for my personal copy of this book on my Instagram. As always, check out my Instagram because I do giveaways there like weekly, I feel like. Still going on. I think it just started, so definitely go enter for the original copy, not this one. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about Twinkle who wants to be a filmmaker. That's all I'm going to tell you about it because it's a cute, adorable contemporary book, and I feel like I've talked a lot about that book. Then I have my 3 books from Book of the Month. The first one is The Book of Essie by Megan Mclean Weir. This is kind of about a girl named Essie. She is the youngest child on 6 for Hicks, a reality television phenomenon, despised and idolized for her family's fire and brimstone brand of faith. And then Essie discovers that she is pregnant, and so things happen from there. Sounds very, very interesting, very, very thought-provoking for sure. Then we have Calypso by David Sedaris. This is a funny novel, and it's I haven't read David Sedaris' book, but I heard that was supposed to be funny, and it's like dark funny, I think. So it's kind of like a memoir sort of fiction. I don't know. If you've read any of his other books, let me know. Is this his first book? No, it's got to be his second book at least, I think. Last one is The Anomaly by Michael Reuter. This is about Nolan Moore, who is a rogue archaeologist. I can't pronounce that word. He's like an Indiana Jones guy. And he has a documentary series dismissed by real experts, but beloved by conspiracy theorists. So basically, he goes to discover this mysterious cavern, and then he finds something, and his story becomes one of the survival against seemingly impossible odds. The only one way out is to answer all these questions, like what's inside this strange cave? How did it remain hidden for so long? And what secret does it conceal that made its last visitors attempt to seal it forever? So this one sounds really interesting. I need to do more research on it. This one, I think I'm the most intrigued by all of these for Book of the Month, so I might need to read this like very, very soon. Like, sounds creepy. Like X-Files meets Indiana Jones. That sounds amazing. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I acquired in June. Quite a lot. This is a long video. I apologize for that. But as always, if you have read or heard of any of these books, please let me know down in the comments about all of these books, because I love listening to your thoughts and opinions, because they really do help, like my TBR and things like that. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.